The Southeast Caucus in the House of Representatives has called for the resignation of Professor Ishaq Oloyede, the registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, citing a catastrophic failure during the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, also known as UTME. The caucus, led by Honorable Igariwe Enwo, condemned JAMB for technical glitches that affected nearly 380,000 candidates, especially in the Southeast, where all 5 states were impacted. Lawmakers criticized JAMB's response, calling it insufficient and highlighting issues such as poor communication, scheduling, conflicts with the ongoing WAEC exams, and insufficient notice for resits. They urged the cancellation of the UTME, that's 2025, and the setting of a new date after WAEC and NECO exams to avoid further disruptions. The caucus demanded the suspension of JAMB officials responsible for the technical failure and stressed the need for accountability beyond apologies. They also pointed out that JAMB's failure undermines Nigeria's constitutional duty to provide equal educational opportunities for all students. Well, joining us now to discuss this Southeast Caucus decision in the House of Representatives for the resignation of JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede is Mr. Dayo Sobowale, our Arise News analyst. Mr. Sobowale, it's great to have you here on Newsday. Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure of being as usual.
Now, I like to look at the element of the ethno-religious aspect that's being brought up in this case. How do you see it?
Who has brought up ethnic religious?
The ethno-religious aspect, talking about the areas that were affected. Part of the brief is that we're seeing elements of religion and ethnic aspects that are being brought into this. Have you come across that, or do you agree with that view?
No, let me first of all say whether I agree with it or not.
Sure.
I agree totally with the call for resignation.
Okay.
Because the damage is incalculable. If you read ethnic or religious something into my disagreement, when I do my analysis, that's a different issue.
Okay.
But as it is, the call is in order. It shows our representative democracy is vibrant, alert, and working. Because these people represent the students who are being, you don't say disenfranchised, but disabled in violation of the Constitution, which says that we must provide equal and adequate opportunities for children to go to school. They have been denied. You say, let me applaud them, heartily. And let me say that I wonder why the Lagos State representatives have not done the same thing. But these two sides are involved largely. And this is not the first time that this is happening. It happened, we discussed it here before. It happened before. And lamentation or weeping alone will not make amends. The buck stops on the table, like the buck stops on the table of the president for everything in Nigeria. He should resign. He should resign. He has had his time there, but then something is very wrong. You cannot right away inefficiency by talking of glitches. If you talk of computers, garbage in, garbage out. We had glitches in our last election. We've had glitches. For how long are we going to endure glitches? So there must be amendment. There must be restoration of transparency, accountability, and integrity. That's my first take.
All right, I hear you, Mr. Sobowale, but there have been growing claims that this recent technical failure in JAMB may not be accidental, but maybe a calculated sabotage to discredit Professor Ishaq Oloyede, saying that during his tenure, JAMB has remitted over 50 billion naira to the federal government coffers, and that is quite unprecedented because in the past we've seen a meager or a paltry sum of 1 million naira being remitted to the federal government, less than 1 million naira remitted annually from JAMB. And it was even in the same JAMB that we heard that a snake swallowed, a huge sum of money. So some people are saying that perhaps this is not just a glitch, perhaps it's some calculated sabotage to take Ishaq Oloyede from office.
Well, some people can think that way. I don't think that way. This is something that affects human lives, young children. And it is affecting a part of the country that values education more than the rest. You see, I spoke about the North gap, the educational gap between the North and the South. And I made bold to say that the JAMB was created to stall the education acceleration of the South. Get me? Over the North. And I know what I'm saying. Professor Oloyede is an accomplished Islamic scholar, former vice chancellor. He has been at this job for some time. If people are collaborating against him, he should be able to fend for himself. But if that collaboration results in the destruction of lives of people who have not even started their lives, then it is his responsibility to just resign and make an inquiry and let us have some fresh leadership to make the educational ground level, stable.
Okay. Also, Mr. Sobowale, of course, you made your stance clear that you see reason with this call for resignation.
Yes.
But would you also like to see a similar call, just as passionate, for potentially deeper structural reforms when it comes to JAMB?
Well, the important thing now is that since 75% of students have failed for some years now, and people have seen that as natural, it means there's need for an overhaul. There's need for an overhaul. I sympathize with the distinguished professor, the way he lamented. But you see, some people have said that, you see, we condemn Nigerian youth once they fail. So we speak of distraction with the internet and all that. But some people have even said, you see, these people have not been given a chance to fail even before they fail. I see it that way. You cannot have the percentage. I was talking of curriculum the other year.
Yes.
That they should look at that. How do you set up exams so that people are going to fail? I mentioned that it could be deliberate. I said that. I mentioned ICANN at one time when they were limiting the number of people who should qualify until Adam came in and almost eliminated them and made the open field level and fair. I see that analogy equal to this. Ishaq Oloyede should accept responsibility and resign. Let the government set up an inquiry. Why so many people from a particular section of the country that values education than the rest, except the Southwest, why the failures will come from that place? And let me make it clear to you, it's not a tribal issue. And I will use Lagos as an example. When Dakonde made education free in Lagos, the people first of all trooped to the schools were the Igbos in Lagos, and they are still very much around. So if you look at that percentage in Lagos too, you see substantial number of Southeasterners there. Why? There is something fishy in that, and government should sort it out. Let government begin by asking him to take a bow and let fresh blood come in.
All right, we'll see how that pans out, because some people are even calling for a forensic investigation into what exactly happened to cause the glitches. But thank you so much, Mr. Dayo Sobowale, for your time on the show, as always.